Good morning, George Peabody School. Happy Inclusive Schools Week. So last week we talked about the zones of regulation, right? And this was all about how we can get back to green and ready to learn when we are feeling in the blue or yellow or red zone. And those are a lot about emotions, right? So when Cloud is feeling mad and angry and he is just feeling super upset and unable to focus, he's got to figure out some strategies to get back to green and ready to learn. This week, I want to talk to you a little bit about how we just learn differently. So this isn't necessarily about how we are all the same and our emotions just get in the way and it makes it hard to learn. Some of us actually just learn differently than others. I didn't actually know that when I was growing up. I thought everybody just learned the same, or I didn't actually think about that much at all. We didn't talk about that in schools when I was growing up. So now that we know that, we can have some more empathy and understanding for people who learn differently from us. So now that we're in a pandemic and we have to learn through the screen, you can only imagine that this time could be different if you're not somebody who can learn best by just sitting at a desk or a table or just sitting watching everything on the computer. Because this works for some better than it works for others. So I wonder how it's working for you, Kat. Well, I take good notes and I'm a good listener and I'm very organized and I make lists. The worst part is that I can't work in the office with Miss Tina. Oh, well, that's the worst part. I'm very sorry, Kat. I'm sure Miss Tina misses you. So for someone like Kat, this is not great. Kat's very social. I'm sure, Kat, you miss your friends. I do miss my friends. I miss you all very, very much. Yes, we all miss our friends. We all miss being together. But Kat's really organized, and Kat is able to follow along and to keep lists and pay attention. So this isn't great, but it's okay. Kat's doing all right. Let's check in with Hugdipus and see how Hugs is doing. So Hugdipus, how is distance learning going for you? Ah, Miss Keane, this is really, really hard for me. I'm really glad that you can say that it's hard for you, Hugs. Why is it so hard? Well, I've told you I have ADHD, right? Yes, we've talked about that before. Okay, well, that means that my brain has a little bit of trouble settling down. Okay, yes, and so I move around a lot, and when I have to move around a lot, it helps me to stay focused. I know that's confusing. So sometimes it's really hard to do that and still stay in the screen. So sometimes I have to go jump around, and sometimes it's hard for me to just stay sitting still. And I really miss my special cushy cushion from school. And I miss my special teachers at school, and I miss the routine of school, and I just miss school. I understand. And I miss getting to run around on that playground. I miss that so much. Gosh, you miss a lot about school, don't you? Yes, I really do. So Hugdipus is a really good example about some of our students having some learning differences and that school is really good for, and that sometimes sitting at home and learning on a computer is really tough to learn this way. Right, Hugs? Really tough. Really, really tough. But guess what? Just like any learning challenge, we have strategies. We have strategies for students at school. We have strategies for students at home. And some of the things that might come easy for Kat may not come as easy to Hugs, but these are some of the things that might help. So first of all, learning how you learn is really important. So Hugdipus was able to say to me, I have ADHD, so this is what makes learning hard for me. It's also really important to know, well, what helps. So maybe learning how you learn is important. Coming up with whether or not it makes sense to do the tough assignments first or the easy assignments first. Sometimes getting the hard stuff done and then leaving the easy assignments for last works. Sometimes doing it the other way makes more sense. So you have to kind of figure that out. Again, learning how you learn best. Using a whiteboard or making daily checklists and schedules. I love those. Right. So Kat loves those. Maybe Hugtopus doesn't love those, but it might help Hugtopus. Maybe being on the screen a lot is tough. So as much as you can get off the screen and print out your work and then doing it on paper, sometimes just the act of doing the work like this rather than like this is helpful. And then you can move somewhere else. So you don't have to be on the computer. Maybe you can go outside and do some worksheets. Setting up routines. I know they're not the same as doing it at school, but when we can set up routines in our home, it is better than having no routines at all. And for students who have ADHD, routines are really, really important. And then asking for help. We all need help sometimes. So knowing who can help us, whether it's our family members at home or setting up a special meeting with our teachers, that's really important. Now, Inclusive Schools Week is a time when we are paying special attention to the idea of being inclusive, which is the opposite of what? Kids feeling left out, right? When we include people, they don't feel left out. When we are inclusive in our ideas, when we are inclusive in our friend groups, when we are inclusive in our language, we are making sure that we are leaving room to think about how others feel. That's what empathy is all about, right? So it's not just students who have ADHD, but students with autism, students with dyslexia. You're going to be hearing a lot this week about all these different ways that students learn and all different kinds of challenges, as well as all the amazing things that people with different challenges do. Because that's just one part of a person, right? How they learn. We all have strengths. We all have challenges, just like the Komochi friends. So it's really important to remember that the way we learn is just one part of us. And that when you meet a friend or you meet somebody, you get to know all of them, right? So Hugtopus wants to remind you of that, though. So when he's being silly or when there's lots and lots of movement, to get to know lots of other things. What else do you want people to know about you? I love bubblegum. Mm-hmm. What else do you want to know? I love playing yo-yo. I love playing the xylophone. So getting to know somebody, the whole person, is so important. Kat, is there anything else you would like to share about you? We know you like to be organized, and we know you can't wait to go to school to work in the office with Miss Tina. Anything else? I love tea parties. I love cookies. I love cooking. Great. So there's a lot more to us than meets the eye. So maybe to be inclusive and not make anyone feel left out, try to get to know the whole person whenever you meet a new friend. You never know, the person next to you in real life or next to you in that square on Zoom could be your next closest friend. All right, everyone, have a wonderful week, and I'll see you all soon. Bye.